So, as you guys can clearly see, I am a proud owner of every single limited item in War Tycoon. And now that I've had experience with every single one of these items, vehicles, whatever, I think it's time for a tier list. Now, for the sake of clarity, what's defined as a limited here is what the game defines as a limited. So the Mephisto, unlike the Seahawk, for example, there's an infinite amount of Mephistos in the game, but the Mephisto is still tradable, and it's classified by the game as a limited. So yeah. First off is the Moderna. The Moderna is, I think, severely hampered in the lack of special features that it has. The T-72 does have a wire-guided missile, which gives it a special advantage over a lot of the more basic tanks in the game, but it has no drones like the Abrams X or the Panther do. It has no APS, it's just lacking in many ways, and it's not a very survivable vehicle, to be quite honest. By no means is it bad per se, but it's not very special or remarkable either, so I think I'll place it in high C tier. Next up, let's do the Sherman Calliope. The Sherman Calliope is a piece of garbage. It is an artillery tank type vehicle. It has 60 rockets, so I mean, you'd think it'd be good, right? But in reality, this thing just exists to be a poor man's TOS-1. It does 100 damage per hit against vehicles, which is abysmal. It's slow, it's weak, it's not durable, there's nothing notable or special about it. It's horrific. Never use this thing, please. The USP-45 is the only limited pistol in the game, and it is also a pistol. Yeah, there's no reason to use pistols in War Tycoon, unfortunately, because rifles and snipers are just so good. They are a completely redundant weapon type, and this one is no different from the rest. Even it's just abysmal, sadly. There is no reason to ever carry a USP in your kit. A rifle is just gonna be unfathomably better than it in every single way. The M35 gun truck, I am unsure why this vehicle even exists. I mean, the M35 gun truck in War Tycoon is like a Toyota Corolla in Le Mans. It has no use case, it's not good at anything. I mean, the base BTR Cliver, or Cliver, however you pronounce it, is also going to go in D tier. It's a bit durable, I guess, but that's also all that it has going for it. It has two very weak guns with poor damage output. I tested this thing on an Abrams X earlier, and it made no dent in it at all, basically going at full power. No utility, no purpose, no reason to exist. It's horrible. I hate it. The B2 Spirit is also going in D tier. Ignore how bad the image looks, okay? That's the B2 right there. The B2 used to be amazing. It used to be one of, if not like, not the best, but one of the best planes in the entire game. The bombs used to penetrate like all the way through a base. You could land a bomb on the top floor of a Tycoon and the damage would still be dealt to a player on the first floor. But then it got nerfed to the ground, and now the bombs do essentially nothing. The B2 is so massive and it has no defenses at all against other players. It's a sitting duck. It's so easy to hit, and the bombs are abysmal. The Super Hind, the F-35, even the B2 or the Stuka or anything with a bomb, really. The F-18 is a better bomber than the B2. Now, the EA-18 Growler is also a D tier. There is no real use case for this vehicle. It has a pretty unique gimmick in that it can turn off lock-on against other players, so other players cannot lock on to this vehicle at all if it has it turned on. But that's all that it has. It has 4 total missiles, 2 of them are for air, 2 of them are for ground, and they do some pretty decent damage, to be quite honest, but the Growler is very imposing. It's slow, it's not maneuverable, you can line it up easily and just shoot it out of the sky. I think it does have an extremely niche use case because the damage is pretty solid against ground vehicles. It has very limited anti-ground capability, but that's about it. Now, the Su-25 Frogfoot is also D tier. The Frogfoot is one of my favorite vehicles in the game, to be quite honest. The gun is really fun, I love it a lot, but it suffers from the woes of being an air-to-ground vehicle in War Tycoon. War Tycoon does not have realistic combat, so the air-to-ground interactions aren't like what they'd be like in real life, and this thing is a walking target. You have to fly towards your enemy to gun them down. That's just asking to get one shot by a tank. It has Unlike the A-10, which is also a pretty bad vehicle to be quite honest. Well, the A-10 isn't actually that bad. I think it's like C tier, B tier. But unlike the A-10, the Frogfoot has no special features. The A-10 is able to drop bombs that guide toward players, which is pretty nutty. The Frogfoot just doesn't have that. It has nothing special about it. So what it is a larger A-10 with worse weapons. Yeah, you can see why it's so bad. Alright, the E100. The E100 is niche. I'll say that for sure. I'm kind of struggling as to where I'd place this. I think low C tier. The E100, I think, is a massive gimmick vehicle, just like its baby brother, the Mouse. It's huge, it's fat, it's durable, it does a lot of damage, sure, but it's so easy to outplay because of that slow-ass rotation speed of the turret. You can just drive circles around it and destroy it, basically. But if you're in a bad spot, this vehicle is definitely capable of doing some pretty solid damage against you, and by virtue of that alone, I think it's above all of D tier. Now, the Terminator, I think, is a criminally underrated vehicle. I've played against a few of these in my time, and oh my god, it is always a pain in the ass. What makes the Terminator so good, in my opinion, is that it's fast as hell, and it's also super versatile with its weaponry. This thing can drive circles around other tanks because of how quick it is, and it can literally just drive away from the turret rotation, and it can just avoid being shot. It's so annoying. And like I said, it's versatile. It has 4 fire and forget missiles. Not fire and forget, it has 4 wire missiles. So if you can aim, it's capable against helicopters, against planes, against tanks, against ships even. And it also has guns for either infantry or anti-tank. Overall, definitely a very solid vehicle that I don't see people using very often for some reason, and that kind of surprises me. Now, the Mephisto, I think, goes in mid-C tier. Now, again, it has wires, so it does depend a lot on the user as to how good this can be. I think under some circumstances, in the hands of a skilled player, it could even be low B tier, but I just have trouble placing it above the Moderna. So wire guideds, of course, have the most potential out of any vehicle in the game. I mean, out of any weapon in the game, basically because of how much damage they can deal if you can aim. But there are so many vehicles that have wires in this game. It's just, why would you choose the Mephisto, which is, it's decent in speed, it's amphibious, but it's not really remarkable. I mean, it doesn't have any extra features like the Terminator does, for example. It can definitely be pretty nutty in the right hands, reiterating, but it's just, there are so many other options in this game. Now, the light armored vehicle air defense, aka the Lav-Ad, honestly, I'd place it in B tier. Now, it's not the best pick overall for air defense, but it does have a lot of uses that I think make it pretty solid. If you're ever in your garage and you're trying to spawn a Patriot to fight against somebody above your base, I'm sure you've noticed that the Patriot's big-ass gun makes it get stuck on the garage oftentimes. The gun, the part that shoots the rockets, when you aim it upwards, it hits the garage door, and that kind of impedes you. The Lav-Ad is a lot smaller, so you can lock onto your enemy while you're in the garage and then shoot at them, which makes it a lot easier to hit them and not die. But the Lav-Ad also has non-guided missiles, which I guess are called rockets, I'm pretty sure. And it also has a pretty good gun. It is airdroppable, so that is definitely a bonus. It's just a good all-rounder, and I think that's enough to place it in B tier. I think it has more utility than everything below it. Now, the M1A2 Tusk goes in C tier, right by the Moderna. So the Tusk suffers from the same issues that I think the Moderna does, which is that the weaponry that it has is just not very sophisticated, and because of that, it's kind of lacking compared to the top tanks in the game. It has the turret, it has the shells, it has the grenades, but what does that really get you at the end of the day? I think it's good at being what it is, which is just a basic, simple, ordinary tank, but being an ordinary tank is boring. It's not good, so it lands itself in C tier. The grenade launcher, one of the newest mythics in the entire game, not mythics, limiteds in the entire game. To be quite honest, I think I'd place it in mid C tier. This is basically a budget explosive sniper and only really has a use in fighting against players when they have their riot shield out, but in a regular gunfight, it's doing less damage than a rifle or a sniper will, so it's not worth having out most of the time. The disorientation caused by the explosions are definitely a plus, but is just not that good. The AA-12 lands itself in high D tier, bordering on C tier. Shotguns are a dead weapon type in War Tycoon. They really aren't worth carrying at all. The only people you ever see using shotguns tend to be kind of noobish, to be quite honest, and I know that's rich coming from me. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But a rifle at close range will outdamage a shotgun like the AA-12, and it's just not worth having in your loadout under any circumstances. The Seahawk is our next ranking, and it goes in S tier. I know many people like to call it overrated, blah blah blah, but I think it's truly the only actual stealth vehicle in War Tycoon. So because it uses fire and forgets, obviously, you can get close to people without them getting the lock-on notification. You can sneak up on them, you can gun them down, you can fire a volley of rockets that basically instantly connect without them noticing. Fire and forgets can definitely be extremely wonky, and in close spaces they're honestly a bit bad, but the Seahawk has the same maneuverability as the F-22, I believe. The stealth gimmick definitely isn't as good as flares are, so that's kind of a nerf against it. But it has just such a unique playstyle. I mean, it's my favorite vehicle in the game, but I promise I'm not biased, okay? I promise I am not biased at all. It's the fastest fighter jet in the game besides the Dark Star. It's one of the most durable, almost as durable as the F-35. The gun is just as strong as the F-35's. It has 6 fire and forgets that do pretty gnarly damage. It's just indisputably an S tier vehicle in my opinion. The Independence X is a hard placement. I'd say it goes in B tier. It's not the best ship in the game in my opinion. That's the Zumwalt, which is of course another Robux vehicle, but the Independence X, I think the only truly notable thing about it is the railgun. The railgun is pretty crazy. You can just snipe people out of the sky from far away, but it doesn't do a lot of damage for a ship. The Zumwalt vastly outdamages it and just annihilates it in fights. And of course, ships in general just don't have much purpose in War Tycoon in my opinion. They don't serve much utility. They're super easy to counter by just hijacking them. So I think that B tier is a very snug and very appropriate fit for the Independence X. Oh boy, the Super Hind is an S tier vehicle. Okay, I've had my mind changed on the Super Hind. If you guys have been with my channel for a few months, you know that I used to be a Super Hind hater, but I've turned to the dark side, okay? I am now a Super Hind lover, and I appreciate how strong it is. It is really a multi-role demon. It has bombs, a gun, indirect rockets, it has multi-purpose guided missiles. It's the most durable helicopter in the game. It's fast, it's accurate, it just does so many things very well. I have nothing negative to say about it besides the fact that it's really, really big, and that makes it easier to hit than other helicopters with shells or with missiles, so that's something to keep in mind. The T-90M Breakthrough, I think, is a high B tier vehicle. The T-90M is also lacking in its technology like the other limited tanks on this list, but what is special about it is that it has infrared disruptors, so it can stop guided missiles from hitting it, which is super powerful in my opinion. It's the best technology out of any tank on this list. Besides the infrared though, it isn't remarkable in really any way. It's just an ordinary ass tank, but in my opinion it's better than everything ranked below it, so yeah. Now let's check out the BMD. The BMD is high A tier in my opinion. It is a good vehicle. The only real special thing about the BMD is that it's definitely the best airdroppable vehicle. You can airdrop this anywhere, and that makes it useful if you're in a pinch. It has a shell, it has guided missiles, and it has a very powerful gun that has pretty crazy anti-air capability. But except for airdropping it, there's no real other circumstance where I think it's worth spawning this thing, because it is frail as hell. But for what it is, which is an airdroppable vehicle, I mean, it's basically a light garage vehicle at this point. It's good. It's really good. But as a tank in itself, it's alright. The TOS-1, I think, is low A tier, below the BMD. Now, this thing can also be a monster under the right circumstances, with the wire guideds especially, but besides the wires, I don't really see a reason why you'd want to spawn this thing. I mean, sure, it is technically a DPS powerhouse, but so is the Reaper. And the Reaver is definitely a lot better. And it's also being slowly power crept. I mean, we just had the K9, which is the new best artillery in the game by a mile, just because of its range. So it's, what are you using this thing for? So now it's just, what exactly are you using this vehicle for? It's still very powerful, but I feel there are better choices than the TOS one, okay? Or the TOS one, the burrito, whatever you want to call it. Again, it's definitely powerful in the right hands. The wires are crazy. I've experienced that firsthand, okay? You know who you are. But I think it's just kind of in most situations, and that's why I put it in B tier. I mean in A tier. The KS1 is also an A tier limited. I think I'd place it in below the TOS in all of this, to be honest. The KS1 is also one of the newest limiteds in the game, and it's good. That's all there is to say about it. It's a rifle, and it has better DPS than the MCX Spear, so that says enough. The longbow is S tier. Yeah. Expected. The longbow is by far the best air to ground in the entire game, just because of its crazy range. I think it's like 2500, 2600 studs, and it also has the radar, of course. What makes this good is that you can just pellet enemies from so far away that they realistically can't even hit you. I don't think it's possible for a tank to shoot this thing down when it's at its max range shooting missiles at it. So that being said though, air to ground is all that it's good at. It's very weak against fighter jets or the Super Hind, for example, so I keep it below the Super Hind. But the longbow has its niche, and it's really good at that niche, and that lands it in S tier easily. The linebacker is high B tier. The linebacker is an airdroppable vehicle with a bunch of wire guideds and a powerful gun. It has crazy DPS. It can melt an Abrams X in like 10 seconds, assuming all of your shots hit. I mean, of course, in an actual fight, the Abrams X would win because of the Javelin, but the point is that it has very high DPS potential, and it's very versatile because of the wires. You can hit helicopters, planes, boats, tanks, whatever. It's tiny, it's quick, and of course that is advantageous because it's harder to hit that way, and that lands it in high B tier, in my opinion. The BTR Cliver, also high B tier. Look, I've changed, okay? I've changed my mind about this vehicle. I don't think it's worth using over the linebacker, for example, because the Cliver is big and fat and easy to hit. But the Cliver does crazy damage if you can hit your shots. One of them nearly takes out an F-35, and it has 4 of those. But I think it's pretty difficult to hit those shots, and it's just an easy target, so I can't justify putting it over the linebacker, but it is by no means a bad vehicle. The AWP, or the AWP, is high A tier. It is the best free sniper that a player can get. Excluding the Barrett and the explosive sniper, it is the best sniper in the game, so of course it is high A tier. What can I say? The Osval, in my opinion, is high B tier as well. It's good, okay? It has very low spread, so that makes it super pinpoint accurate. But there are many rifles that definitely outclass it, so I can't justify putting it any higher than B tier, but regardless, it is a very good gun. The Saiga 12K is D tier, along with the AA-12. Being a shotgun, again, in War Tycoon is not good. There is nothing good about shotguns in War Tycoon. I've already explained why shotguns are bad. D tier, okay? Now we have the MP7, low C tier. I think it can be okay in some circumstances because of its quick fire rate. It can melt players sometimes, but it's not good for long range combat unlike a rifle is. And a rifle will basically do the same damage, if not more, in a tight space, so there's no reason to carry it over a rifle. Finally, we have the AK-12, which I think is mid B tier. It's pretty solid. It's a basic rifle, it does good damage, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. I've said all I've had to say about these forgettable rifles, okay? Let me know what you guys think about this list in the comments. Your opinions would definitely help me formulate my opinions in the future. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.